See if
It's gonna go live. All right, I think we should be good.
here, and I'll post it out too.
There we go.
Fee, fee, fi, fi, boom, boom, boom.
That was a fun game, though, huh?
It wasn't bad. It was better than I thought. It was definitely better than I thought. I was ready for a sweat. Oh, look, here we go. I can see us. Zion tweeted it out.
Yeah, it automatically does that from here.
We're live.
We are
At
live.
Easy.
Oh, look at that! I got control. Wow.
I put my computer up high because I didn't. I thought the angle after the last show was not flattering.
So you
my ego mandated that that I move it a little bit higher for today. So yeah,
I love it.
Yeah, you got to hit those angles. That's Hollywood, baby.
Yeah, you're all about that. You know all about it.
Gotta do it.
All right, we're gonna give people a second to roll in here. Zion will be joining us shortly. He's leaving Madison Square Garden, trying to figure out a place that's quiet.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's gonna be
New
possible.
York near Madison Square Garden. Sure.
Yeah, exactly.
So what is he gonna go? Is he gonna go into a janitor's closet somewhere?
Seriously, he tried testing it during the game at halftime, and I was like, "Yeah, I don't know about this." He's like, "I'm just gonna stick around here afterwards and see if they don't kick me out." I don't have the intro on hand. I don't know. I don't think people are too concerned about it.
Yeah, I think people will live.
Yeah. Anyways, we can probably jump right into it. What are your initial thoughts? Obviously, real quick, Duke won. I'm already getting Ryan shave your mustache comments. I love it.
No, don't shave the mustache. You need to grow the mustache on the entirety of the season. It's got like a rally beard,
Just so people can see what my wife does to me on Instagram. This is her post. This is a comparison tonight while watching the game.
Dude, yes.
Her making fun of me on her Instagram account. So no,
idly doodly.
Yeah, mustache is going to stick around a bit. Anyways, Duke wins 74-62. A great all-around performance tonight. But yeah, Russ, what are your thoughts initially from that win?
Yes, I was worried coming into the game, and I alluded to this on Twitter, but I pulled some stats because I don't know when I'm going to podcast again, so I'll just share them here. Starting November 21st, so 2 weeks ago, right, over the last 2 weeks, we were 63rd in offense since then, which I don't think surprises people. We were also 72nd in defense. Like, our defensive efficiency over the last, 2 weeks in a day, basically starting with the Bellarmine game since, has been worse than our offense. We gave up nearly a point per possession to Bellarmine and to an Oregon State team, which is a terrible, terrible team. Yeah. The defense against Purdue was obviously dreadful. Xavier and Ohio State, we played not bad defense, given that they're both top 10 offenses in the country, right? But they were still around a point per possession. And then the BC game, we gave them so many open looks. I realized that part of it was by design because Boston College can't shoot, but shot quality graded that as a loss for us because we took so many hard shots and they took so many easy shots. Right. Yeah. So, again, some of that's by design when it's a team that can't play, as we saw when they lost to damn New Hampshire tonight. Right. So I understand that. But at the bottom line is we're benefiting from some good shooting luck right now in terms of our defense. We're top 20 in the country in 3-point percentage defense coming into tonight on the season. Teams are shooting 26.7% from three against us coming into the season. And it's not like we're running teams off the line either. They are taking a decent volume of threes and just missing them. And, and they're also we also have some of the worst free throw shooting luck in terms of free throw defense in the country, which tells me that these other teams can shoot. They're just not making them, right? Yeah. So I was very concerned coming into today that this Iowa State team was where the regression monster would really rear its ugly head, top 3 offense in the country, right? But it didn't, which is great. And again, a 35% shooting from 3 team shot 18% from three, right? Something like that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, 16, maybe by the end of it less. So, like, again, I still think regression is coming for the defense a little bit. I don't think we're this very, very stout defense yet in terms of consistency. But what I think tonight really showed, which is the point that I'm building to here, is where our defense can be if we can play consistently. We put an All-American in the lock box tonight, which was phenomenal. He didn't even get looks. Like, he was just struggling to, like, get space, period. And big credit to Mark Mitchell on that in particular. Whitehead some as well. They did get some good looks from three and just missed them, c'est la vie. But really tonight, even more than the defense, like just the offense looked pretty good. I do think that the Iowa defense cures a lot of ills. Like, I think over the same 2-week span, Iowa's defense is something like 160th, 180th. Like, they're a bad defensive team, as we saw tonight. And maybe that's all we needed. Maybe we needed some bad defense to find some offense. But I liked what I saw from Whitehead on offense and Mitchell on offense in particular. And if we can carry those things forward, if we can carry some of that defensive momentum forward, even when teams start making their threes against us, hopefully we will have built enough of a foundation there, right, that that then we don't need to worry as much when the regression monster rears its ugly head.
Yeah, exactly. Which it will eventually.
And it was a game we needed. I mean, we can talk about that more later, but we can end talking about the schedule and how dire it is going forward. But scheduling wise, this was a massive win. I think Iowa's going to be a top 25, 35 team in the country over the course of the season, going to be a top 5 offense all season long on a neutral court, beating Ohio State, having the Xavier win, which I also suspect will age really well. Those are 3 really good non-con wins. I know we didn't get like the big scalp with Kansas or Purdue, but it's great for the resume. There he is.
There's the man.
Y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
I'm still trying to get to the train, but what can I talk about?
No, we just kicked it off. Russ was going through it. I was just going to make a comment real quick. I do think it's funny that I feel like it's not normal for us as an ACC team to have to think about non-conference games in December being like one of our final like decent times to get a win over a good team. Like, I still haven't been able to comprehend that. So it's new to me. But before you get stuck in some weird subway system, Zion, let's hear your thoughts on tonight's game.
Hey man, first of all, is the sound good?
That's good enough. We can hear you. Just talk about it.
Yeah. I thought it was a great win, man. I saw a lot of people nitpicking on Twitter saying, they could have won this game by 20. That's a good team they beat tonight. Like, I was the top 25 caliber team. Chris Murray is at this rate, he was an All-American candidate, and they pretty much shut him down. And that was the best offensive performance of the year by far. Jeremy Roach was good. Tyrese flourished in the point guard role. We got Mark getting to the rim. Ryan Young had his moments. I don't know if y'all talking about Ryan Young, but so it was definitely, I would say, a very good win and the best win of the year so far.
Yeah, I'd say it's our best performance of the year on both ends. I mean, it's just our best performance of the year, period. I mean, this game was like a 2-point spread, something like that. I mean, and we were in the lead decisively basically the entire game, especially coming down the stretch of the second half. That's great. I mean, that's definitely what we need. And yeah, 3, I struggle to see a world in which these 3 games are not Q1 wins. I mean, maybe Ohio State could slip out. Xavier and Iowa will definitely both be Q1 wins, like without question.
Yeah, for sure. I think the one thing somebody said tonight, the game ball goes to Mark Mitchell, and I don't disagree with this. It's interesting that this can be like the narrative, although Jeremy went for tied for a career high of 22 and just looked like the Jeremy Roach that I feel like we need going forward if this team is going to be who we think they can be in March. But yeah, Mark Mitchell, who was like very quiet, like quietly having a good game in the first half. And then they finally started to realize like, oh wow, like Murray has under 10 points for this game, and he's 6 of 8, or Mitchell 6 of 8 from the field, like very efficient, making smart plays, not turning the ball over. He only had 1 turnover tonight. And like I said, only missed 2 baskets. He hit all 5 free throws he took. So just seeing him do that with not even a lot of spacing. We've been calling for it, and I know Zion has also been calling for it, the small ball lineup, which would give Mark more space to work, and he hasn't had that at all. And tonight he still took advantage of the opportunities that were given to him. So great defensive effort, obviously by Mark Mitchell and Dariq Whitehead in some stretches as well on Murray, but just the efficiency on offense and how smart he was, I feel like that's just showing his development so far this early in the season, which is great. The other one was, and Zion mentioned it, was Tyrese Proctor I guess overall with him and Roach. It's almost like Roach saw or heard us give him the ratings for this year. Guys, somebody tweeted at me, or somebody DM'd me saying a C for Roach this year. I think he must have heard you guys, just something along the lines of that. And I was like, you know what? He might have, because tonight he played his ass off. He was really good, especially in the first half, and then a couple stretches in the second half. Still a little concerned with the way this team finishes halves. That's not great, especially come February and March and hopefully April. But just a good overall win. And now they're going to have, I think Adam Rowe tweeted out, it's like 2 games in 25 days. So a lot of time off, and then mixed with practices should be a good little break for the guys, and come back when ACC play really ramps up. And I think we play Virginia pretty quickly after that break. So much deserved. And yeah, not a bad way to end not the non-conference, but the big games in a non-conference schedule.
We don't play Virginia for a while.
Do we not? I thought they said that.
Yeah, Virginia's February 11th.
Right. Okay, never mind. Somebody mentioned that on the broadcast, I thought, and that's why I was like, oh, maybe we must play them earlier. But
we do play at Wake on the 20th, which I do think is kind of like a sneaky hard game. I think Steve Forbes is probably, new coaches notwithstanding, a top 3 coach in the ACC. And they're kind of figuring some things out. That loss to Clemson notwithstanding, they beat Wisconsin at the Cole. That's no small feat.
No, not bad at all. I do want to address this comment here, the bench play. And I did see, I think Zion, you tweeted it tonight too, that, and I don't know if you have good enough service to comment on it, but the fact that, like you said, that tonight shows how scary deep this team can be. And I'm not sure I disagree with that, but the fact that, like, the depth includes Grandison and Blakes, who in my opinion didn't have a huge impact on the game tonight. Obviously not offensively, and defensively they're fine, but part of me was like, sure, like, this team can be very deep, but from like a threat standpoint, I still think we're like 7 strong. And you could maybe even say 6, because Young probably isn't even in that, might not be in that conversation, although I'm a fan of what he brings to the table. So Zion, any comments on the depth part of it?
I would say, and I added a disclaimer too, that it wasn't really about numbers.
I know you did, yeah.
Yeah, we kind of saw everybody have a little part in it, which, sorry for that, which is like, we don't need, if we have so many guys contributing, we're not going to get, 5 guys with, 15, 14, one guy with 20, one guy. It's going to be, the numbers are going to be spread across. So I'm not really worried about the numbers. But even Grandison hit a big 3 early. We saw, Tyrese have his moments. Flip had that little stretch to start the second half. Lively had some good plays when he was on the court, whether protecting the rim. He had the Dariq looked really good tonight. I thought it was just like a complete effort, and I think it wasn't like we played our best team basketball or of everybody contributing, but it was like a flash. So if everybody like plays a small part of the role, Duke will be very hard to beat. So I thought it was more so flashes of how deep they could be now. So, this is the team we'll see in March.
Yeah, no, I like that a lot.
I think, for the record, we are 9 deep. I just think it's going to happen. I don't think Shire's going to stop playing Young. I don't think he's going to stop playing Blakes. I don't think he's going to stop playing Grandison. And then the other 6 guys are too talented to not play, right? So I think that Ryan Young, again, I suspect will maybe once Whitehead and Lively are ready to play a little bit more, he settles in more at like 12, 13 minutes a game, something like that, right? I think Blake's is already only playing 18. I think he probably maybe settles in more around that 13-ish space. I saw a bunch of people leaving comments that like Blake shouldn't play. That's what I saw a bunch of people saying like Blake should not be playing. I don't mind what he brings to the table. Offense, he's a net negative, but until Whitehead is consistent, he is our best perimeter defender, just period. I think he does a lot of things in terms of setting the tone and intensity. He's a really good rebounder for a guard. He really plays physical and gets after it. I don't want him shooting some of those shots, but also I don't mind that he's willing to take some shots because if one or two of them go in, then maybe teams have to defend him a little bit and then he can stay on the court a little longer and we're a little better on defense that game. I just don't want him to do too much, but in terms of knowing his role, he's generally pretty good at it. And I would like to see him continue to do that. We've had discussions on here about Young and the efficacy of the lineups when Young is on the floor. Young's metrics are obviously good. And I said, especially playing a zone, having a guy like Young in there to eat up space who has a nose for the ball because offensive rebounding in a zone is really, really hard. He's clearly got value. Again, I think playing him 12 to 14 minutes a game makes complete sense. I just think the 20 plus that we see from time to time, that's where I draw the line a little bit. I think he has value. But again, and to Zion's point, and again, a point we've belabored many times on here earlier, if Ryan Young is playing, the odds are that Mark Mitchell is not getting a chance to play the 4 because we probably have 2 bigs on. I know for a stretch there, we did have either just Young, maybe it was just Young and then Mitchell at the 4 for stretches tonight. He's willing to do it, which is great. I don't really care how we do it, but having Mitchell at the 4 clearly unlocks a lot of stuff for us, especially defensively. And I want to just see him continue to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. The one thing I wanted to get to that some people have been talking about is the non-conference. I know we still have Maryland Eastern or whatever their name is. But I know we graded Roach's
disrespect.
I know we graded Roach's performance last time. So for sake of consistency, I'd love to get your guys' grades of our non-conference performance thus far, your totality, whatever. I know we got Maryland Eastern next, but Zion, start with you. What letter grade would you give our non-conference performance?
That's tough. Because
if somebody told you in September that to finish non-conference we'd be 7 or 8-2 and hopefully 9-2 with wins, with the wins we have and the losses we have, would you say, yeah, I'd take that? Or
honestly, I'd definitely take it. I'd give it a B. I'd give it a B minus B, just because I might even bump it to a B plus, just because the factors we didn't expect going into the season, the Reek not being ready to start the year, Lively not really ready being ready to start the year. So, we got some really good wins. I think Iowa's a good win. I think Ohio State's a good win. Kansas, I thought it was a game we should have won, but I think it's good that we took a loss like that early. And Purdue, we needed to get smacked. We needed to get smacked early in the season to kind of, so where
they're going to smack a lot of teams too.
Yeah, they're going to smack a lot of teams too. So, I think I'll take it because I'm all for not going. I'm honestly all for not going undefeated in non-conference play. Like
100%.
we've seen that enough. Like we've seen Zion's team smoke non-conference teams, and we see the best teams just destroy teams in non-conference, and by March it's not the same result that we want. But get these out the way early and grow from them. I'll give them B plus. B minus or B.
Yeah, and I know I would bet you what Russ was thinking as soon as you said I would rather not go undefeated in non-conference play. In most years, sure. In this season and the way the ACC shapes up, probably not favorable, but which is understandable. But Russ, how about you?
Yeah, I think B minus is fair. I I'd definitely rather have one loss than two. I think that goes without saying. Also, the Oregon State win was just so scary. I mean, like, there is a very real world in which our season is like completely fucked if we lose that game. Like, because then we don't get good games for the rest of that MTE, right? Like, so it was very important that we advanced through that game. Yeah, it's less about the record for me, and it's more about the things that we're seeing. The fact, I think Zion adding the context of if we knew that Whitehead and Lively would not be ready for 25, 30 minutes a game, would we feel this way? I do think if you consider that's very, very worthwhile. My biggest concern right now is I don't know that Duke is like an elite team at either offense or defense right now. Like,
I know your stats earlier said that they've actually been better offensively than they have defensively lately, but you'd have to think from their overall performance.
But true.
I know, but from their overall performance, I would say that their defense is definitely their strong suit over their offense. Like if I had to die in a hill, I'd say our defense and our defensive strategy.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think that's true in the grand scheme. I don't know that that's necessary. I don't think that that's been true against high major opponents so far. I think that, like, the numbers definitely benefit the offense right now, but it's because we scored 71 against Jacksonville and 84 against USC Upstate, right? Like, there's some mitigating factors there. Yeah, I just don't know that we're great at anything yet, and we still need to figure it out. I do think that sometimes with these younger teams, in looking at it on the whole season, not any sort of adjustment for preseason considerations or anything, just how we have played, 50th in offense, 34th in defense so far this season, which, again, just like, I think that teams in the past that have been young that we've had, we knew we had a good offense, right? Or like we knew we had a good, even if we like took an L or two, like we knew that there was something that we'd be like, we are one of the best teams in the country at this. And other than being big, I don't know what we're one of the best teams in the country at yet. So there's still a lot of
rebound.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I just wish we could convert rebounds to points better. So B minus. And I also think, like, we're still trying to figure out who's going to be that very efficient guy down the stretch of a game. Like, Flip certainly was at the end of the first half. They gave him the ball, so that kind of looked like maybe it was that. Flip has not been very efficient. I know that part of that is because everybody else has kind of sucked on offense. But Roach hadn't been that efficient, right? Whitehead is still figuring things out. Proctor figuring things out. So we're just all figuring things out still. So it'd be one thing if we had the record that we had, but we felt like we knew what the team is. We still just like don't really know a lot of the stuff about what this team will be. So B minus.
Yeah, to go off your point on Flip, and even tonight he was 5 of 15, 1 of 4 from 3. Like, I'm all for him taking that amount of shots in any game, really. But you're right. Like, for the most part, efficiency wise, it hasn't been there. I was impressed. I thought he played better than defensive end tonight. And he held him the ball better. He only had 2 turnovers, but rebounding wise too, like, I'm still waiting for him to be at the 5 with Mitchell at the 4 and Derek at the 3. And just let them go to town there, because Flip has shown this season that he can be that rebounder.
It seems like we're not going to get it.
I know.
I'll be honest.
If we haven't gotten it at this point, I don't know when we're going to.
I'm not holding my breath for Flip.
I know. But I do think when it comes down to what are we elite at, if you had to ask me, would you trust this team to get a bucket?
Before I lose service, look at Trevor Keels.
What was that?
I said, before I lose service, look at Trevor Keels' tweet.
What did he tweet?
I don't know. I'll look.
Let's find out, or y'all can find out with me.
Yeah, I'm gonna look at it. Oh, is this like he tweeted with you or something? Oh, he said, I really miss playing with Jeremy Roach.
Oh, yeah, there it is. Well, because he's not playing much for the Knicks, is he?
No.
I'll give him a retweet. Damn. Yeah. Anyways, we're not gonna get into that. We're not gonna unpack that situation tonight. I think that's more of him just like supporting Roach and the team, if anything. But if it came down to it in a end of game situation, would you trust this team more to get a stop or to get a bucket? And I feel like stop is the right answer in my opinion.
I mean, comparatively, yes, but I also don't know that I trust them to get a stop yet. I mean, like,
you don't trust them to do anything yet.
Yeah, I mean, like Ish, I do trust them to like grab boards. I do trust them to do like some things like this. You know, I trust them to make free throws. Weirdly enough, we have been a very good free throw shooting team.
Yeah.
14
a night. Roach finally 100% from the line. Need that.
Yeah. I just get really scared for the defense. The fact that teams are shooting like 25% from three against us, but like nearly 80% from the free throw line. Like that definitely tells me that like equilibrium is going to happen at some point. And it just is a matter of when and where.
Is there any stats on three or I don't know how the stat would be put, open threes taken? Like, so they shot 16 threes tonight, only made 3. Like, how many of those were contested to, or I guess contested threes to uncontested would be very interesting, because did they just miss 3-pointers tonight? I wasn't looking for it very closely.
But shot quality tracks that. I'll be interested to see if they post about what the actual shot quality score would have been. From the eye test, I'd say at least half of them were open, right? Yeah. Like they definitely missed some gimmies. And I mean, those McCaffrey boys, Connor, Patrick, and did they say the next one is Jack? Oh my God, it is the most Irish family ever. I absolutely love it. Yeah, like they can shoot, man. Like, I don't know. It's weird right now. It's an interesting thing. I didn't expect us to be playing as deep as we have, or the rotations that we are, or at the tempo that we are playing. I didn't really know what to expect, but I didn't expect a lot of the things that have happened so far. And I'm very happy that we have the record we have. And I'm happy with a lot of what the players are doing. But also in terms of Roach, like we've seen him have great games. It's the consistency.
Yep, exactly.
It's just continuing to find that consistency, which he can still do. There's still plenty of time. We just haven't really seen it yet. I mean, his plus minus on the team so far this season is one of the lowest on the team.
I think the more that Proctor gets comfortable and the more Proctor becomes a threat, the better it is for Roach. And I think that showed a little bit tonight. Roach was Proctor was kind of getting his own. He was driving, making plays, and it kind of opened up Roach to not have as much pressure on him. It kind of faded a little bit at times in the second half, and I don't think Proctor had as strong of a half as he did in the first. But I think you're absolutely right. The consistency with Roach will be a huge thing. There was a comment here
of the 9 players that are in our rotation. Roach is 7th in plus minus for the season. Would you like to guess who's number 1 and who's number 9?
Who's number 1 in plus minus?
Yeah.
God, is it not Ryan Young, is it?
It's not, but he is 2nd in plus minus.
Okay. Then it's not going to be Flip. He plays too much.
It actually is Flip.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's Flip by a lot.
Interesting. Yeah. So he's the best. He's the best plus minus.
Yeah, he's easily our most valuable player of the guys in the rotation. He's got our most win shares per 40. I mean, like most of the big metrics that you can find. Obviously, he's got our best like PER. His shooting obviously leaves something to be desired to some extent in terms of what you would expect from a 7-footer, but also you wouldn't expect a 7-footer to be shooting 36% from 3 or making the free throws he's making. So yeah, he is by far our plus minus leader. And I bet you could guess out of the 9 who is last.
Blake's or Grandison?
Blake's and Grandison 6th or 5th and 6th respectively.
Then Whitehead?
It's Whitehead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't want to guess him, but
yeah. And also it's not his fault, right? He's trying to play his way back into stuff. Proctor is 8th, but I think that's also a byproduct of like his first like 3 games or whatever were just so bad that like the stats it's like putting its finger on the scale really hard. I would bet over the last few that he would be closer to the top of the pack. But yeah, Flip, Ryan Young, and Lively are our top three.
This comment was as you were talking about it in our depth. JD Osborne 1 asked, why aren't we running more? We have depth, run teams out of the gym.
You know, I am inclined to agree.
I am too.
But we're winning games. Like, I don't like like at a certain point, if we keep winning playing slow, then I'm just an idiot and Shire is smarter than me. And we know he's smarter than me in basketball anyway, right? So like maybe I just have to trust that he knows what he's doing on this front. Maybe he's trying to mitigate turnovers. We have been a little turnover prone, especially against high major opponents. We have seen that be a problem. We're 103rd on the season in turnover rate, which means in just play over the last 2 weeks, it's probably notably worse would be my guess.
Yeah, I think the thing is just like, in my opinion with that is like, not only do we have the depth, we have the personnel to run. Like Flip can run, Lively can run, like 1 through 5 can run, Sands, Young, like everybody can run on the floor. I trust most of them with the ball. So like, to me, it is a little interesting that we don't run more. I wish we would.
Yeah. Our turnover rate's still top 50 over the last 2 weeks. So I was wrong there. Here's what I would imagine he's doing that for. I think that he probably correctly believes that our size advantage might be best used, especially guys like Flip. Flip is almost certainly going to be better in the half court, right? Yeah. Ryan Young is very obviously not a transition player. I think Grandison gets sped up in transition. It's certainly so far Whitehead is still trying to figure it out, right? So Blake's obviously gets sped up some in transition. So maybe he's just trying to make it easy for them, which fair enough. It's bearing results. But I agree, if we're playing 9 people, we probably should run more, but not against Iowa. We should not have run against Iowa. We did the right thing tonight.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going to end with one thing. They're trying to age you in the comments right now, Russ.
Me?
They asked if you went to Duke, and someone said, yeah, Russell graduated in the 2000s, which is probably, I think it's accurate, but
that is accurate. Yeah.
It seemed what's the word I'm looking for? Targeted. They seemed like they were targeting you with that comment. So yes, Russ to go to Duke.
I mean, it's pretty easy to figure out what my relative age range is because I've told stories on Twitter about, like, I knew Luol Deng when he was in college, right? So that, that tells you right away, you know, a relative age range, right? I played beer pong with JJ Redick, right? Like I saw Shavlik Randolph do a freestyle circle at Wayne Manor. Okay. So like you can figure out my relative age range there, right? But also the gray in my beard gives away some of that as well, right? So
that's the Hollywood stress. We'll chalk it up to that. But anyways, all right, we've been going for 30-some minutes now. It's getting late. Zion, any last thoughts from tonight? And I know we won't be live probably for a couple weeks now with just how the schedule works out. So anything left you want to say?
Yeah, man. Happy holidays to all the people out there. Go Duke. Good end to the whatever Saturday. Good end to the non-conference stretch. Excited to see this team in January, February.
Absolutely, Russ. Anything from you, man?
I'm just excited to see these away games in conference where we have quad 1 opportunities, where we can really show what we're made of. Again, some of the teams that we tend to struggle with on the road, teams like Clemson, Virginia Tech. I mean, even NC State has looked a little more feisty than normal. Mm-hmm. Just teams that we're better than, but play very well at home against us, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'll be interested to see what we can do. And then in particular, I'm interested to see how Shire squares up against some of the better X's and O's coaches in the ACC, right? I think the Steve Forbes game on the 20th of December at Wake I think that'll tell us some things. And then obviously the Virginia and Virginia Tech games, those are probably, for my money, new coaches notwithstanding, the two best coaches in the conference. So I'll be interested to see how some of these things bear out going forward. And more than anything else, how Whitehead continues to develop. Again, I thought tonight was a very positive, encouraging game for him.
Mm-hmm.
Again, he doesn't have to play a real team for 2 weeks. So, gives him a little more time, a little more practice. Yeah, I'm excited to figure out with everyone else what this team is going to be, since I still don't really know yet. But that's exciting in a lot of ways.
Absolutely.
I will say Derek is coming. Derek is coming.
Oh yeah.
Tonight was a big step. I saw it tonight.
Yeah, I agree. And somebody made a comment that he's further along right now than AJ was at this time last year, which I have a terrible memory, but I would have to say that's probably accurate, or if not, they're on the same pace. But yeah, I think Zion, like you said, tonight was a big win going into a 2-week stretch that is, a week and a half with only playing one game against a cupcake game. Good to have Derek back for quite a few games in a long stretch for a guy who's coming back from foot surgery. So that's great to see. Just not any very dark spots with this team. I think the Kansas game is the one that would just still rubs me the wrong way from not finishing standpoint. But I think Shire and the staff, he talked about it in his halftime his halftime interview, that we just got to finish halves better, and same goes for the end of game. So that'll be a point of emphasis, I'm sure, in the next couple of weeks. But yeah, we have a healthy team going into the gauntlet of conference play, and hopefully that stays the way it is. And we're starting to see a little bit more of a set rotation, which I think is, and it's a 9-man rotation too. So I think that's an interesting as what we hadn't seen in past weeks. So love to see that.
By the way, I've heard that Derek AJ comparison on Twitter a couple of times. I don't really think that's fair to AJ, who was way more fucked up injury-wise.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Right? And AJ could shoot, but he just wasn't going to be able to defend last year. There was no way, right?
Yeah.
I don't hold that against him at all. And as Whitehead alluded to on Twitter, I'm sure that while he is still maybe not 100% health-wise, he is good enough to be playing better than he has been. It's just about getting comfortable after being hurt. And that, I'm still getting over my grade 3 ankle sprain to compare myself to a Duke player. And trust, I don't want to take the court yet. I'm scared, right? That's a human response, So he's figuring it out. Tonight was a huge development in terms of him just making some nice confident drives, playing good defense, the end of the first half notwithstanding. A lot of good signs from him.
Sweet. Duke up to 24th defensively in KenPom after this win. But yeah, I got nothing else to add other than happy holidays, everybody. It'll be probably after the new year when we get back on this, I would guess. Maybe not. We'll see what happens with Wake. But
also, there is an elite team to that person. It's Houston. There is an elite team in college basketball.
Yeah, so far. But all right, gentlemen, anything else?
Happy holidays, everybody. Go Duke. Let's do it.
Sweet. See you, everybody. Take care.